So during that keynote at 2025 ANA Masters of Marketing, you noted that our industry is facing an existential moment unlike anything you've ever seen. But there was a part of it that really kind of fascinated the entire OnScope editorial process. Now, with the proliferation of AI, you noted that there is an inherent uncertainty that this technology will lead to creative destruction, disruption, businesses and jobs that we know disappearing off the face of this planet.
Right.
However, you said that in the end, we will be a better industry for it.
Absolutely.
I would love to know, why you feel so positive about where the industry is headed, and what are these signals? What is this? Where is this feeling from? Because I love it. I would just love to know the thinking behind it.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the basics. We've been here before. Not only this industry, but where we are as a country, where we are as a globe. We've been through creative destruction. We've had the Industrial Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
We had the technological revolution.
Oh, yeah.
We had in our own industry the advent of digital and social media just essentially replace all legacy analog type media. And we have been better for all of those. So quite frankly, this is that next step in terms of technological revolution that is going to not only change the face of marketing, but change the face of the planet.
Mm.
It starts with the belief that AI is just not only great technology, but it puts us on a very, very different plane that far exceeds anything that we've ever experienced. This just is not an incremental leap.
Yeah.
This is a generational leap, and it's happened essentially within 3 years. It's changed the face of how we think, how we act, how we operate. Having a team that just came back from CES, they said everything was about robots and AI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you think about that, what are we attempting to do? We're attempting to leverage technology that moves us in a place that is way out of the box, way beyond anything we've ever been able to conceptualize.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily because we don't even understand how it operates, but it operates. And it puts us in a place of creativity and thinking and ingenuity and innovation, unlike anything that we've been able to experience. Before, we've had to rely upon human innovation, human creativity. Now we've got technology that can help us to think in a very, very different way, to provide efficiencies, productivity, effectiveness, to provide insights that we've never ever considered before, and to do it in a very seamless Q&A kind of way with a dollop of leap ahead thinking. Now, when you bundle that all together, you come up with a whole series of new ideas and new ways of thinking. Media planning now gets left to the combination of what we may creatively think may be the right thing to do, but happens to be dolloped with a layer of productivity that will essentially make this the most efficient media buy that you've ever had. And if you look at how we operate as an agency, well, agencies were riddled with lots of pedestrian types of blocking and tackling, paper pushing type of people that aren't necessarily needed in this world of AI.
Mm-hmm.
What is absolutely incredible to conceptualize is the trajectory of this growth has been something like we've never seen.
Yeah.
So what we're having trouble doing is adjusting to the speed of that level of change and to try to find that change that will lead for marketers to achieve, to me, the holy grail, a temporary competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Those advantages have been shrinking over the course of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But where marketers can be smart is to be able to provide enough low-cost, almost no-cost technology, apply it to a brand and business system that will in fact be unique and that will be applied so that marketers can gain share of market, can generate incremental revenue through higher volume gains, and obviously greater income. Now, that's the reason why I'm very optimistic. But the offset is that people will get displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Processes will get displaced. Ways of doing business will get displaced. But then again, we've seen how this operates. Look at the retail industry.
Oh,
Look at the record and CD industry.
Yeah.
Revolutionized. But we end up in a better place because when was the last time your family actually traveled to a mall to go buy something? It's been a long time for me. I'll tell you
been a
that
minute.
much. Everything we buy is online. I'm happier because I don't have to go into stores. I don't have to lug packages, and I get everything delivered to my doorstep. We have to think about this in the same way of transformation, but transformation which isn't necessarily punitive, but transformation in a way which is accretive. Of course, we have to watch out for the scammers, the fraudsters, and whatever. But the solution is actually in the technology.
Yes.
Because once you start applying AI to how do I prevent fraud, how do I prevent criminalization, we can finally get ahead of the criminal element and, in fact, move ahead in a relatively seamless way over time.
That is fantastic. And my goodness, there is so much to unpack there. One of the things that you touched on, which I first kind of conceptualized back when like 4G became nationwide, is sometimes the technology needs to come along before you can even have the idea.
Sure.
Like before 4G, nobody was going to come up with the idea for Uber because like a system that's going to coordinate all of the cabs in New York City and lead them directly to where you stand. Like you couldn't even have the building blocks of that idea before this technology came and showed you what was kind of possible as a baseline. So I think that it has like not only incrementally increased what's possible, it's opened up brand new spaces in creative minds. And that's extraordinarily just exciting and very cool to play around with as a creative myself. It's really allowed me to do things I hadn't even considered considering doing.
There you go.